Hey everybody, I hope this video finds you well. I've been getting a lot of questions about the course, what does it kind of look like, what can I expect, so I figured I would just kind of show you a little bit of one of the lessons. So in this lecture, this is Module 2, Lesson 2. Now keep in mind there are 4 modules, each module has an average of 5 lessons in it. And they're all kind of like this, but they're a blend of me showing you the Tonemaster Pro control app, building rigs, but also keynotes, like what you're going to see here are PowerPoint presentations. And they're filled with a lot of exercises and handouts in each lesson. So the idea is to really take you from guessing where you're at to knowing exactly, oh, I hear a sound. Let me go ahead and recreate that. So I hope you enjoy the preview of this course. This entire video is about 30 minutes long. I think I'm going to cut it down to about 10 minutes. If you want to see more, I'm running an early bird special on my course. If you use the promo code TMP50, it takes $50 off. That's going to be good until the 27th. So next Friday, you got about a week to use it. And yeah, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section or keep emailing me. I love that you guys are shooting me emails now and are comfortable with that. I love it. So, all right, enjoy the video. All right, y'all, welcome to Module 2, Lesson 2. Hopefully the last lesson made a lot of sense and you're starting to dive into and really understand those core amps. Now, we're going to do something similar, but we're going to look at effects. Now, brace yourself. This is probably going to be the most in-depth explanation of guitar effects you've ever seen, so get ready. This one's a dense one. But if you get through this and you really take the time to know these, you'll really never have to watch another YouTube video. It'll just be a matter of just, experimentation. So before we jump into the different types of effects we're going to cover, I want to stress this EQ for guitar, and I want you to really take a moment to pause and review the frequencies here, because this is really important when it comes to dialing in your rig to your guitar. If you're listening, you're like, man, something doesn't sound right. We need to start asking ourselves, okay, well, what doesn't sound right? Is it too boomy? If it's boomy, maybe we need to take out some low end. Is it too thin? Okay, maybe we need to push 250 to 500 hertz and see where that body is missing. I just really want you to think about this, because when we start talking about these pedals, if your amp isn't dialed in where your guitar sounds the way it does, then none of these pedals I'm going to show you are going to make your guitar sound any better. So take the time to really get comfortable with that. And if you have questions, leave them in the comment section on this. Like, you paid for this. Take advantage of it, please. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about all different effect types. This is really going to be your core base for building any type of guitar rig. What I'm going to tell you, this is going to apply to any guitar pedal you may or may not purchase. And then I'm going to show you kind of like my favorites within the Tonemaster Pro. So if you've never seen this before, this right here is going to make guitar pedals make sense to you. So we're going to just talk about a few of these. Whenever we start getting into the advanced, we may add in some more layers, but if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, if you understand reverb, delay, overdrive, distortion, and your modulation, you can build anything. These are like your peanut butter and jelly staples, if you will. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is understanding reverb, how to add space to your sound. All right, a lot of people can get confused with reverb, and they think that my guitar tone sounds best without reverb. Now, there are some really popular players who are way more famous and known than I am that play dry signals only. I am just going to encourage you to embrace reverb, but don't hide in it. But reverb is basically the natural space or echo reflection of sound in a particular room. So one benefit of not having reverb in your rig is like maybe you're already playing arenas, in which case adding an artificial reverb blended in with the organic reverb in the place, yeah, that might kill your tone. So these are things you do need to consider, but if you're using it subtly, like what I recommend, it's going to add a lot of depth, a lot of dimension, and a lot of realism to your tone. This will basically, it's going to prevent your sound from feeling flat or dry. So let's talk about different types of reverbs, and you can see off to the right, these are all different examples if you want to try a particular one within the Tonemaster Pro of what they look like. But starting off with the room reverb, this is just going to simulate the sound of a small to medium, or in Fender's case, large room. And I think they have a small room as well. The large room is probably, I don't know, it just sounds good, but they're trying to imitate that intimate and close feel you would play in like a 50 to 100 cap venue. They're trying to replicate what that sounds like. Then on the opposite side, you've got hall reverb, which Fender, the Tonemaster Pro has both large hall and small hall. And this is just trying to replicate, you know, that 250, 500 cap, give it a little bit more spaciousness and openness. And now you've also got access to more traditional reverbs that you would see in like a deluxe reverb or a Princeton or whatnot, or in a studio. So the first one is a plate reverb. You know, the plate reverb in the old days, and I encourage you to go online and look at videos of this if you're interested in the history of music. But original plate reverbs, they would take the sounds and they would basically shoot it through a metal plate and they would capture that sound. But now your plate reverb is just created by basically trying to simulate those reflections. You know, some of the characteristics of plate reverb is it's going to be bright, it's going to be smooth, and most of the time you're going to hear this in a studio context. But the cool thing about owning the Toolmaster Pro is that you have access to this. You can see off here to the right, we've got the large plate reverb. And then your traditional spring reverb, this is like your Fender stuff. So most of the time, like in my deluxe reverb, it actually has a spring tank. So it gives it like that vintage bouncy character. And in my opinion, it can be a little tinny as well. And then lastly, one thing that's really cool, that's kind of like popular only in the, I would say like modern guitar or maybe like chill electronic space, is cloud reverb or shimmer reverbs. The cloud reverb, you've got a couple of different ones in the Toolmaster Pro. I put this cloud reverb up here, but there's also a shimmer reverb particularly. But all it's going to do is it's going to add in like some high pitch harmonics to the reverb tail. So if you want that ethereal and dreamy sound, check out the cloud reverb. And that's going to be kind of like a good leading point into my favorite picks for reverb. In the Toolmaster Pro, if I am doing a clean tone, I'm going to do this cloud reverb, and I'm just going to dial it back a lot. You've probably seen this in a lot of my videos in my rig building where I talk about that. And then also just for like more traditional sounds, like if I'm playing with a band, especially if we're using in-ears, I'm running a large hall reverb just because I like just a little splash. I never play dry, and I know some people might be like, "Oh, what an amateur," but I just don't. You know, we've got access to it in the Toolmaster Pro. Now, if I'm recording, I don't put any reverb on my tracks, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the recording portion where I'm giving you kind of like best practices. But in my recording rigs, I don't put any reverb because if you're running multiple different types of reverb in a mix, you can get natural distortions due to like phasing issues. But for anything else, yeah, I'm always playing a wet rig. All right, I had to cut the video a little short for YouTube's sake. I hope that you at least got some value from this, just a short snippet. This lesson is about 30 minutes. So if you want to see the full thing, make sure you use the link below to click. Don't forget to use the word TMP50 to save $50 off. Make sure you do all the YouTube stuff like liking and subscribing. And man, I'm just so grateful that you guys are even considered giving me your business. We've already got about 10 students signed up right now, and I'm just blown away. So thank you guys so much. And I am just so thrilled to be your course instructor.